I just realized while my typing, I can actually say. Yeah, thanks, Bill. So I was writing that up this morning. Um, some thoughts. Don't know whether it's right or wrong, but some thoughts. So glad you found it useful, interesting. Good morning, Jambi. How are you doing? Hey, BL. Hey, Haida. Hi, Ayakame. Oh, it was such a rush. Out for a while, came rush back. I thought I was just going to miss the start timing, but got back with a couple of minutes to spare. So might be a bit flustered at the start, but it's all good. How are you all doing? Anyone traded the FOMC last night? Nothing much happened. I mean, didn't move as much as we planned. Hey, Steve. Hope you're all well. Give it a couple of minutes before we get started, as usual. Alchemy did not trade it. Hey, Christina, how are you doing? Hey, Carson, good morning. Anyone saw? I mean, you guys on? I think all of you are on Discord. Anyone got? Was a bit early for most of you, but the yen actually moved. The US yen moved very nicely. Caught a 55, just about 55 pips this morning on the yen. By sharing that in the Discord channel. Right after I closed out, bounced straight back up. Very happy I got in and got out of that. Got in and got out of the yen. Hadn't closed below entry yet. Thanks. Okay. Hey, Robbie. One more minute. Alrighty, let's get started. Again, welcome back. It has been a super long day. Why I say that we had the FOMC meeting interest rate decision early this morning, 2 a.m. GMT plus 8. Press conference 2:30 GMT plus 8. So I was up watching the news, sharing with you guys some possible trade setups before the news got released. Nothing triggered or didn't trigger what we expected. So it was just sitting and watching. If you are following me on TradingView, I did a short post about that, just sharing a little bit of the frustration, just sitting there watching the charts, not having much to get into last night, so just sharing a little bit of the frustration probably. Right, but we are here today on the daily market analysis, where I do my fundamental analysis, technical analysis, look for some possible trade setups. We do have the ECB with their interest rate decision later today, right? So there'll be a little bit of a focus on the euro and possibly even the euro cross pairs. So at any point, if you do have questions, please feel free to put it into the chat. Let me know. I'm happy to repeat or elaborate further on any points. Any particular pairs you'd like me to look at, do let me know as well. If you are new to the session, do drop a message, say hi, let us know where are you joining from. We have a super nice and friendly group of regulars here. So for all the regulars, welcome back. Thank you for joining me on this session. The link is there for the Discord channel. Do make sure you joined if you have not already. Okay, let's get going. Quick disclaimer, any information contained on this webinar should not be construed as advice and is presented as educational material only. Please do your own due diligence. The contents of this webinar is not intended to be a recommendation to trade a financial product. Your objectives, financial situation, and needs has not been considered, and you should consider its appropriateness to your circumstances. And as you go through this whole session, if you find it useful, interesting, and helps with your trading journey, do help me out. Click that like and subscribe button, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on YouTube or on TradingView. Click that like, click that thumbs up button. Helps with us getting this video shared across to more people, get more people on board. Best of all, it doesn't cost you anything. With that said, here I'll just say the pound dollar seems to be moving to, I'll have a quick check of that. Yep, a little bit there. Okay, so looking at the news here, what we just had early this morning, as I was saying, the US Fed funds rate, 25 basis point rate hike. So from a 5.25% to a 5.5%. As expected, it saw an increase. The dollar at 2 a.m. there, right? We did not see a push up and then a retrace back down. In fact, it just went straight down to that 100.88 level, right? Set there, bounced a little bit before dropping further, looking like we might see further downside. So the common question is why, right? Why, despite a rate hike of 25 basis points, did the dollar index drop? The statement and the press conference was relatively hawkish, right? Was relatively hawkish, where in the statement they were saying that economic activity has expanded at a moderate pace. Job gains has been robust in recent months. Unemployment rate remained low, but inflation still elevated. Okay, and then the other thing was that they seek to achieve maximum employment, inflation at 2% in the long run. Because of that, they decided to do a 25 basis points rate hike. And where was the other line? All right, considering taking into account the cumulative tightening policy and lags. So this is no change from what we saw in the previous statements. Why I say it was hawkish is because during the press conference, there were hints from Chair Powell that FOMC is going to take a data-dependent approach on future hikes, right? So they're going to take a data-dependent view on future hikes, and also retains a bias to do more. The likelihood of further rate increases in September now at that 20-something%. So we're possibly looking at further rate hikes again beyond the terminal rate at 5.5. We're looking maybe even a 5.75% by September. They were even saying that maybe even in November we might see further rate hikes. Okay, so I view that as quite positive, quite hawkish, especially in the comments. And they were actually looking at holding inflation get to 2% by 2025. Initial projection was that it might get to 2% by 24, by the end of 24. Now they've pushed it to about 25. The other line was that, where was the other line? There we go. Right, certainly possible will raise rates again in September, possible hold steady. Need the data. There was one line where he was saying that the Feds are not considering a risk for recession. Oh, there we go. Fed staff no longer forecasting a recession. Right? So it all sounds very positive. So it's a little bit surprising that we did see that drop on the dollar index on the release of the news. One scenario why I would say it dropped is because of a bit of a priced in scenario, right? Where markets had been expecting this 25 basis point rate hike. So when it came around, we did see that drop set at that level of 100.80. Might see a little bit of a drop back down. It all comes back down to the next CPI number. I think it's on 10th of August. Okay, so that was the news on the Fed Reserve. Any questions on the news about the Fed Reserve from last night? Put it into the chat if you have any questions. I'll give you a couple of seconds to do that while I crack open a can of nice cold Coke. All good on the FOMC rates decision? If it's good, say good. If it's not, let me know if you get a question. And I see a number of you on TradingView joining us on the stream. Right? Do help me out. Click that little rocket ship button or drop a message and say hi. All right, good. BL says good, so we'll keep moving on. Now, with that done, right, what we actually have coming up, nothing much now, take a break. At 8:15 GMT plus 8, we do have the Euro, the ECB, with their main refinancing rate, which is their interest rate decision, looking to go from a 4% to a 4.25%, right? From a 4 to a 4.25%. Right? ECB to hike rates again, but keep options open for September. That's what they're saying. Might look like a bit of a hawkish move. Might be a very similar move to what we saw on from the Fed Reserve, but I think that it's at the level where we do have good opportunities on the euro dollar. I'll show you that shortly. Monetary policy statement. Advanced GDP looking to go for the US, looking to go from 2 to 1.8, small drop. Unemployment claims, not too concerned about that. And then the ECB press conference at 8:45 GMT plus 8. So just remember here, okay, what could happen. And if you didn't pay attention to the news and you were just watching the charts, at 8:15, with a 25 basis point rate hike to be released, most likely to be released, taking it to 4.25%, we could see, or we're likely to see, some reaction on the euro dollar. Possibly a spike to the upside, on the euro dollar, but I would typically say don't rush into that trade yet. Don't rush into a trade yet at 8:15. Wait for the press conference. Okay, wait for the press conference. See or listen to what's being said. The question is, with this rate hike September, are they going to be looking at further rate hikes, or are they going to sound like the Feds and talk about further rate hikes in September, or are they looking to pause? I don't think they're going to pivot. Are they looking to pause? Right? So we'll possibly be looking at about 9 o'clock, close of the hour, see where price is, how it's reacting to a price level before we do get into a trade. I will run through the scenarios with you on the euro dollar shortly. All right. AYJ says good. Fantastic. Kelvin's asking, can that cause the RBA to increase too? RBA's rate decision still a couple of weeks away. Is it a couple of weeks away? Still into next week, I think. Couple of next week on Tuesday. Most likely not going to cause the not going to cause. I don't think it'll be directly, if they do raise rates, I don't think it'll be directly because of what happened from the Fed Reserve. I think that the RBA is most likely going to keep rates on hold. Also because we did see yesterday, right? We did see yesterday CPI number year on year for the Aussies going from a 5.6 to a 5.4, quarter to quarter, showing rather good, I wouldn't say significant, but rather good slowdowns in a quarter to quarter basis. So that might give some reinforcements to the RBA to hold on further rate hikes. It is hurting the Australian households with the current rates as well, right? So they wouldn't want to raise it too much and slow the economy down too much because that's going to hurt not just on one front but right across the board. Household spending, mortgages, overall business activity, that's going to hurt. So I think they're going to be a bit careful there. Further updates into next week, but we'll take it as it comes. Okay, hope I answered your question there, Kelvin, about the RBA. With that, okay, nothing much else. Into tomorrow, we do have the Bank of Japan with their monetary policy statement to be released, most likely, between 9:30 to 1:30 GMT plus 8, most likely around that 10 to 11 o'clock timing. Okay, in this scenario, I think that we might see some significant volatility in the yen. Right? I'll update you guys more in the Discord channel because I want to see how price moves now all the way to tonight before we can find some higher probability setups. We'll do that now, but then I'll update you guys further in the Discord channel as well. So if you haven't already, do make sure you join. Also, because you look at this headline here, Bank of Japan to keep ultra low rates. We know that already. They're going to stay at minus 0.1%. But there may be debate about fine-tuning the YCC. Okay, so because of that, I do think that we might see some volatility on the yen. Okay, good morning, Buba. How are you doing? So looking at the charts here, we are on the 27th of July. Right, it did bounce around this trend line, broken that trend line, so I'll take that away. It did not shoot up, unfortunately, to test that level before turning back down. In fact, it broke down. Now that it's broken below this, breaking below this 38.2 level, let me just clean out the charts a little bit. So 50% held, too strong, so I'll take away 38.2 is there. You can take away 61.8 for now. Okay, and there we have it. So 23.6. So what you always want to do is remove the lines that are not valid anymore, just so that you don't over confuse yourself. Keep those that are relevant. Okay, at this point we have price breaking below 38.2. If this does continue on, break below 38.2, I would say consider it as a range with 100.74, the previous level here. If it does break below this point, then we could see it come down further towards that 100.40 level, which is 61.8 on the fib retracement level. Okay, and then ultimately also towards this area of 100, that 100 round number level. Okay, so I'm looking at the dollar index, especially if we do see later tonight the euro dollar gaining some strength. That's going to cause the dollar index to come back down as well. Now I'll be looking for this, needs to break below 100.74. Let's make it a round number and say 70, which it looks like it's going to do now. Is it to close below, right? Could get to 100.40 and 100 round number. Would be a little bit surprising if it does come all the way down to 99.60, right? But I think that for today, we're possibly looking at it coming down to, yeah, that 1.8 level or this previous swing level at 100. Okay, oops. So overall, looking at that weakness to possibly continue on for the dollar index. Thumbs up if it makes sense, if it's all good. Then with that, so expecting dollar weakness to continue, then looking at the Kiwi dollar, right? That trade, or that was what we were looking at last night, right? Came back at 2 o'clock, we saw that spike up. So you shouldn't have entered that before the news. We were talking about this. FOMC, not a right time to enter before the news. It did spike up, so that trade was not valid. Now pushing up. Okay, take this away for now. See how these levels work out. Testing. Or tested, retrace. Now looking at trying to do 38.2 again. Okay, this is on the Kiwi dollar on the H1 time frame. 38.2 at that point. Okay. Short-term trade, you could be looking dollar weakness to continue, right? If it does break above that point, so about 6265, 0.6265 close, needs to close above that point, which is very close. You could have a very tight stop loss, 20 pips, a take profit firstly towards that 61.8 level, which is about 50 pips on for the upside on the Kiwi dollar. Right? What I would say is this could be a longer term trade. Right? This could be a longer term trade. There was a lot of discussions in the Discord channel about, getting the hang of holding on to trades longer, in terms of, letting your trades run. One scenario here is that if it does break above this, right, if it does break out, it comes to the 1.8, what I would do, move this to break even, let this, and then drag this, take profit up towards that resistance level. Right? I don't think they will see a big move like that, but you get a chance. Then anywhere, maybe even at the next level at 63.44, you'll be looking to close out. You have little intervals of where you consider or redecide whether to hold on to a trade or whether to close out a trade, right? You don't want to be in a situation where you're holding on to a trade just because you want to train yourself to hold on to a trade. Have reasons why you hold or have reasons why you close. So this is the Kiwi dollar, 6265, 20 pip, 25 pip stop loss, even do 25 to 50 pip take profit. So we're looking to buy at 0.626, 6265. Stop loss of 25, take profit of 50 to the upside there. Okay, looking at that, I'm watching that closely. Then on to clean out this. Do like my charts a little bit cleaner. Then onto the Aussie dollar, right? Again, did not drop to trigger our sells. So I'll take that away. Right now, pushing up. It's going to move very similar to the Kiwi dollar, but a little bit differently is because it is approaching a resistance level at 0.6840. You can see that the last two times it got to this, we saw a big push back down. Then when it got there, saw a big push back down. Okay, so at this point now, what I want to do is wait for the Aussie to see what happens again at 6840. Expecting the Kiwi dollar to trade up, right? It is coming back down a little bit right now. I'm expecting the Kiwi dollar to trade to the upside. This move to 61.8 could be correlated with the Aussie dollar pushing up to that resistance level. If the Kiwi dollar does break above 61.8 towards 0.64, then we might see the Aussie dollar break above 0.6840 towards 0.69. Okay, so you have two scenarios here. You could look at Kiwi dollar trading up to this point, closing out the trade, and then after that switching over to the Aussie, look for it to break that resistance and then have the next trade up. Or you could see the Kiwi dollar get to this point. If the Aussie looks like it's going to continue pushing up, then you could just move this, expecting the Kiwi dollar to move in alignment with the Aussie dollar. Okay, so this is how I would juggle between looking at two currency pairs. Right? In the best case scenario, if you have enough leverage and margin to trade, then you might even be looking at taking on a little bit more risk, have your Kiwi trade running to break even, right? Stop loss at break even, looking for that big upside. Then on the Aussie dollar, you could also be looking for it to break that resistance at 6845, 50 pip upside, again 20 pip stop loss. Okay, not ruling out the chance that it could turn back down, but that's relatively straightforward. We will be updating you if that does happen as well. Okay, so 6845, 20 pip stop loss, 50 pip take profit to the upside for the Aussie dollar. Stop loss 20, take profit 50 to the upside. Okay, just sharing with you how it looked like if you were looking to sell it back down, a test and a reject, then you could be looking to sell down about, dollar index would have to show you a bounce towards strength. You could be looking at 6820, stop loss 25 pips, take profit could be down to 50 or even 90 pips to the downside. Okay, so you have a bit of two opportunities there. On the Aussie, I do rate or consider, the upside more likely, especially if we do see the dollar index break and trade down towards that 100 level. Fair enough. What's the entry on any NAD USD and NZD USD. Entry on the Kiwi is looking to buy at 6265, stop loss 25, take profit 50. Right, there we have it. So we're looking for this to break above that 38.2 level to trade to that 61.8 retracement level. Then next up, this is the US yen, right? Have been stalking this for the longest time, right? This was a box we drew on Monday, I think, or Tuesday. On Wednesday we said still looking at that box. If it does break down, could trade down to that 61.8 level or that previous swing level. Did not get in at that point. Too close. It was at that news release. I'll zoom in a little bit more here. I was very happy with this trade. As it was coming down, right, I did get in at that 104 level. Very big, strong momentum to the downside. We saw the dollar weakening. So it came to that 104 level. I did get into the trade. I was intending to let it run all the way down towards a take profit, ideally. So I went off, did something else, came back, checked it a little while, just happened to check it, and I did see that being outside of Bollinger. I closed out at 55, right? So I just happened to catch it at that point when it's right outside, closed out the trade. It was signaled out here on Discord to you guys, where I had a brief check and closed out at 55, right? Slightly, copied the picture slightly after I closed out at that point there. And then what do we see next? Went straight back up, right? Went straight back up. And now still back at that 140 level again. Okay, so if you haven't already, again, another reason why you definitely should join the Discord channel. Now, at this point, this area is done. Let's take that away. Okay, take away the bands now. At this point here, done of 104, right, at 104. Bearing in mind that tomorrow we do have the Bank of Japan with their monetary policy statement to be released. At this level, what I'm looking at is dollar index still dropping. So dollar index still dropping, but yet we're seeing the US yen possibly pushing back up a little bit. And it came down, looks like it's pushing back up. It's a bit interesting here. I would like to see it retrace a little bit more. Okay, if we did that, doesn't work. Did that, works a bit better. Okay. Technically, it's broken these levels, so it's actually not valid anymore. Came down to that 50% level and bounced back up. So I would be looking, I'm still looking at that downside potential on the US yen all the way through to tomorrow morning. Looking for it to test this. Very close. Just check the H4 time frame. Look. Right, bounced off 61.8, back down. H4, technically it didn't close. It closed below 38.2. Still looking at the downside. Right, we're still looking at the downside on the US yen. I think that it could come back up to about this range, 140.50. Right, I would like to see this happen, bounce up to 140.50 and then continue down towards that 61.8 level. All right, because of that dollar weakness still continuing on that should be dragging the US yen down. So right now it's showing a bit of a retracement. So I'll be looking for this to trade up to 140.50 rejection. Then I'll be looking to sell down below 140.35 or 30 pip stop loss. Right, even down to this point is 90 to 100 and hey AL, how are you doing? 110 pips here. Okay, so 140.35. Stop loss 30, take profit 110. There you go. So sell 140.35. Stop loss 30, take profit 110. Looking for that. Continue down, especially because of how the dollar index, the price action of the dollar index. If it doesn't retrace as much, then you could be a little bit of a higher risk move is below 140. Look for it to close below 140. No. Okay, if it's not going to retrace as high, then I would say you could trade it down, but it'd be a short-term, almost scalping kind of trade towards the downside, towards that 139 level. Still looking for it to drop. Better move before it to retrace before turning back down. Right? Then onto the pound dollar. So BL was saying, look at the pound dollar, it's moving. It is moving. I saw the big push towards the downside since the 18th of July all the way to the 24th, and now pushing back up. The pound dollar does tend to trend like that, right? And you see in a longer term view from 30th of June went back up, 30th of June to the 14th of July. So a big climb in the pound dollar, retrace back down to that 61.8 level before bouncing back up again. So I'll take some of these lines away. Okay, 61.8 bounce. Now at this point, crucially, it is breaking above that 50% level. Okay, it is breaking above that 50% level, driven again because of that weakness in the dollar. That trade did not trigger. The weakness in the dollar driving the pound dollar higher. Resistance right up here at 1.3140. So what you could be looking for now, again, supporting that move to the upside. Look for it to close. Right, and bear in mind right now is that we do have a lot of pairs which seem like it's, you know, you could be entering everything. Don't over leverage, don't enter everything. Just be a bit more picky. Okay, I wouldn't say close above 50, look to buy. Maybe if it closes above 61.8. Right, so look for it to sit there, look for it to break above 61.8, which coincides with the round number of 1.3. Then you could be looking for, with that dollar weakness to continue, expecting dollar weakness to continue, 1.3020, take profit 100, stop loss 30 for that continuation up. Just looking at a couple of levels, maybe should be a bit safer and say 1.3030, stop loss 40, take profit 100, still 100 to the upside. Right, it'll be clearing above this area. That's what I would view on the pound dollar, considering whether there is a more channel, right? So it could come up, test, bounce, test, or breaking to upside. Okay, so a bit of patience there on the pound dollar. We have put it a little bit higher just so that we can be a little bit safer on that entry. Okay, so 1.3030, stop loss 40, take profit. By 1.3030, stop loss 40, take profit 100 for the pound dollar. Okay, I like how that's happening. Right? Hey, Angel Case, how are you doing? Then on to the euro dollar. Right? I was highlighting to you guys, where was it? We were looking to say euro dollar didn't drop to bounce, but now focus on what's going to happen as it approaches the resistance level. So now it is at that resistance. It looks like it's trying to break that resistance level. Right? Is there any big reason why it's strongly? No. Okay, Spanish unemployment rate did change. Okay, so now looking at this, then we know that our next big resistance level. Hey, Vels, what are you doing? Velvez. Next big resistance is at 1.1258. I would consider it a bit of a range. About that point, 1.12. Okay, so how I would be looking at this on the euro dollar. We have this as our resistance. I have a round number here at 1.12. Put that as a resistance as well. If it does break, remember at 8:30, so it's 4 hours time, we do have the ECB with their rates decision and the press conference at 8:45. If it does continue pushing up 1.1145, you'll be looking at a 50 pip take profit, 20-30 pip stop loss, 25 pip stop loss there. Yeah, I'm looking at this resistance. I'm considering that it's about the previous swing high. So I'm looking for it to break above that resistance, above that previous swing high, 1.1145. This could be a trade that would happen before the ECB news event. And then you definitely want to get out before the news event, and then after that we could have another move. Okay, what I'm saying is that we could be looking at this push up. News event comes out, we might see it hit the next resistance. Could be a big move day on the euro dollar. Last time round, the 15th of June, there was a 25 basis point rate hike. Just find it. Here we go. So you see the last time we saw a 25 basis point rate hike on the euro. Right, and this was in the lead up to the euro, so it's the same time we saw a push, retrace later, and then a big push. This was 127 pips to the upside because of the ECB the last time round. So now if we just push it right across, right, we're looking at a move like that. right? It might come up there, sit there. If they do another 25 basis point rate hike, it might come up to their resistance in a similar fashion at that point. Okay, and then you see that it hit and started retracing, climbed up a little bit before it retraced back down. That was also because of some dollar strength. So I'm anticipating maybe a similar move, right? Push up, might retrace back down, and then the news push to break towards the next resistance level. So what I would actually suggest is wait it out, wait for the news. Wait. All right, wait for the news. Maybe you could consider move like that. Okay, you could consider a move like that. Break above, and in this case, you can be a bit safer even and say 1.1150, stop loss 30 pips, take profit 100, trying to trade the news on a hawkish. Okay. So buy 1.1150, stop loss 30, take profit 100, has to be a hawkish. I might even, for this scenario, might even be considering entering before the news. Also because I do have a little bit of a risk capital available from my US yen trade this morning. So it might be something that I could be looking at before the news. Buba has a question, and how do you scalp the market? Are you often using a pending orders or just market entry? Scalping, I'll use market entry, not pending orders. Okay. So as we look at so I was saying we'll look at the cross pairs as well. Euro yen, right? If the euro dollar does push up, we found a good base. Okay, I'll take this way now. Take it this way. We did find some level of a support here. Right, and if it does continue pushing up, we could be looking for the euro dollar pushing higher, could drag the euro yen to the upside. Right, and I also like how it's found a bit of a support there. Okay, so pushing up would be above 156. It's very close to that 156 level. So I would say that you'd be looking for 156, something like a tight stop at about 40 pips, take profit almost 80, could even continue higher as well. But you know that at least you're looking at it's a 1:2 risk reward ratio there on the euro yen. Okay, so that's a possible euro dollar pushing up. We could also look at the euro yen pushing to the upside. Looking at the pound dollar climbing, possibly pushing higher. Euro dollar as well, looking very strong. Then looking at the euro pound, right? Again, euro dollar pushing up, right? We could see this break out of this area, pushing towards that 8640 resistance level. I'll take that away. My areas are relevant. 8650 would be good. 8640 is reasonable. So we could even be looking at this on the euro pound. Again, remember, you don't get into all the trades. Pick and choose, be selective. That's a 55 pip move to the upside. Stop loss about 25 below, just slightly below the zone, or even 30 pips. Still looking at a 1:2 to the upside there on the euro pound. Okay, so a lot of opportunities. Don't feel like you have to rush into it. This euro dollar one might be a bit of a before the news event, before the news trade. Euro yen, maybe during the news or maybe slightly after the news, we could see this push up. Euro pound might be a little bit more choppy because of how the pound dollar is going to influence it as well. But we could see this retrace back up, correct back up towards that 0.6840 level. Okay. Then onto the US Swiss franc. Yesterday we said could ignore as it is in the middle of the support resistance level. Good thing we did because it did drop back down, didn't do too much. In fact, now at that 0.8567 level, very close to the 0.8555 support. Anticipating further downside on the anticipating further weakness on the dollar index. You can see that the US Swiss franc is at a very low point. We're back in the 2015 level. Right, we're back in 2015 level with the next big level here at 8377. The daily time frame. Right, so coming back to the current, this does push down. Then if that dollar weakness does continue, you could see that trade down, but be very careful, right? This is in the 2015 levels. Right? So we're going to expect a lot of choppy price action here. Okay, dollar index dropping very strongly. Look at that. Okay, so we could be looking for this to trade down, but I don't think it's going to move in a straight line. It's not going to do that. It's definitely going to hesitate here for a while. Then after that, we're going to see that kind of down. I would, you all know me with my non-keen US Swiss franc trading. I think a lot of other opportunities across the board, but could be looking at this as well. Okay, break below 8560, big downside 83. I don't think it's gonna happen, but this did not. Break below 0.8560, big downside to 0.8380. Copy. Dependent on this one. Okay. There we go. Waiting for pound yen. Let's get pound yen as well. Right, yesterday we were talking about this, broke down, did not trigger that trade, bounced back up. Still the same thing like I said yesterday, it's right in the middle there. Not too keen. For me, I'm not too keen on it. I think it's right in the middle. A lot of choppiness here. You can see all that tails and take that away. Take that away. You see all that tails and wicks. I think I would focus maybe on the euro yen a bit more than the pound yen in this scenario. Right? US CAD, I was a bit keen when it got to that point, did not trigger. Pushing down now with that trend line there, right? And the dollar weakness expected to continue with the current price action. Could be looking for this to break down. Right? We could be looking for the US CAD to break that trend line. Then you could be looking to sell down. I wouldn't get in right away. I'll say break below those previous swing low levels. 1.3150. Stop loss 25 pips, 20 pips even. Take profit 50 pips to the downside towards that support level. Right, I'll be happy with that. That's the previous swing level. Okay, 1.3150, stop loss 20, take profit. Sell 1.3150, 20, take profit. Profit. Okay. Now, lucky last, onto the gold, moving like a charm. Right, we said there was, if it does break above that 1974 level, we could see it trade up towards 1986. Yeah, above 1974 could trade up to 1986. Still on the way. Dollar weakness is going to drive this further to the upside. I think that view will still maintain. Looking at this, even if we just consider the body, it would just nicely hit the top of that channel. That channel doesn't really work, but bit of a rough idea. So I am still looking for it to test 1986. Maintain that view on gold. All right. Any further questions? Please help me out. Click that like, rocket ship button on TradingView. Click that thumbs up button on YouTube. If you do have any questions, let me know. If you haven't already, Discord channel is there. I don't think I'll be leaving the stream running today because I'm going to try and run it later during the ECB press conference or during the ECB news. Right? So for now, trade well, trade safe. See you on Discord. Maybe later on during a stream as well. Take care now. Bye.